Hi everyone and welcome back to National League Lowdown with me, Dan. As you can see, we've got a full panel tonight. I'm joined by Craig. How are you, mate?
Yeah, disappointing result for my team again yesterday, but I always like doing these player special podcasts. We've had 3 excellent ones today, and I imagine today's going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, looking forward to it, mate. Looking forward to it. We're joined by Louis as well. You'll be a bit happier, mate, are you?
Yeah, I woke up this morning wondering whether last night was a dream. But yeah, happy, pleased as punch. I am. Looking forward to dissecting the games and going through Max's career so far.
Yeah, and as you can see, we've got a special guest with us this evening, Max Jolliffe. How are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Obviously, still hurting a bit after the other night, but we go again Saturday. But thank you for having me on. It's my pleasure.
Our pleasure, mate. Honestly, I love these player specials. I love asking, for players' perspective on things, and obviously we'll get straight into it. So obviously I've been reading a bit about your career so far and things, and I've seen you come through the Arsenal Youth Academy. That must have been an experience. I've seen that you'd played with the likes of Miles Lewis-Skelly, Ethan Ranieri, players like that. How was that for you?
Yeah, obviously, it was some experience. Obviously, as you say, there's some players there who are obviously playing at a very high level. But yeah, I think that was just good for me. Obviously, in my development, to be playing with them sort of players, it also raises your level as well. So yeah, definitely helped me in my performance, and yeah, to see what they've gone on and done, obviously inspires me and stuff like that. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, the Arsenal Youth Academy is a well-renowned one. There's a lot of great players came through that academy over the years and things like that. So one of the first questions I had for you was basically, what was like the big difference when you made the move to Colchester? Like going from obviously youth football into men's football. What was the biggest difference for you?
Yeah, I think obviously it's a big difference going from youth football to men's. I think the main thing is obviously when you're playing youth, it's all about developing here. The results, it's not too big on the results. But obviously when you go into that first team environment, there's points on the line. It matters. This is people's livelihood, and for the fans and stuff like that. Obviously they really care about it. And I think that's the main difference is you're playing for something which I obviously much rather. It's you're playing for something, and there's points on the line. So yeah, I'd say more competitive with that result based more than a development based process.
Yeah, and obviously, I know recently you've moved to Yeovil. That's obviously why we have you on the pod, representing Yeovil. Your first game was against Carlisle, I think, if I'm right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you played very well in that game, mate. To be fair, the whole team did. I was very impressed with you guys, but the form's been a bit up and down. How have you found it so far?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm really enjoying it at Yeovil. Coming to a really good group, really good management staff there, a really big fan base, really good fan base, and yeah, I feel like I'm settling in well. Obviously, obviously with the results wise, we're going to be hoping for better, and we want to turn it around as quick as we can. Obviously, as you said, I thought Carlisle was a really good performance from everyone, and I think it was just frustrating the other night. We probably dropped below that, and yeah, we probably let ourselves down, everyone down a little bit with that, but. I'm coming in, I can see the quality of the players, the quality of the management staff, and yeah, I'm pretty confident in our team. So, but they've welcomed me in really well. I don't really have a bad thing to say about anyone there. So yeah.
No, it's good to hear, mate. I'm pleased it started well for you. Like I say, the form, Yeovil have shown it this season in certain games. They can, put teams away. They can play well. It's just inconsistent. If you could turn a couple of them, maybe draws or losses into getting points here and there, you'll soon climb the table, mate, I think. Craig, I know you had some questions for Max.
Lovely, thank you. Yeah. How did you find your time at Maldon and Tiptree and Billericay, obviously part-time sides who were probably training in the evenings? Did you still spend time at Colchester while on loan there, or were you solely on loan there and only training in the evenings?
So when I was at obviously Maldon last year, there was a link between Colchester and Maldon, so it was quite good. Where I was, and obviously at the start, my under-21 manager was the Maldon manager as well, so it was quite good to get the two. And I was still training with Colchester all the time, and then I trained with Maldon in the evenings, so it was quite good to juggle the two. So I was still getting that full-time training for my development, but then able to play men's football in that environment. And then the same when I went to Billericay this year, which was really good for me as well. With Scopes, who's a really good guy and a good team there. It was the same, so I'd still train with Colchester full time, and then I'd play a game on the Tuesday, and then I'd train with them on the Thursday in the evening, but still be training with Colchester full time. So I'm still getting that full time mix of going between Colchester and part time.
How did you find it in terms of, like you said, you've been in Arsenal's academy, you've been around full times at Colchester, to then go into playing with players that had effectively finished a day's work? Was that difficult for you to adapt to and those kind of things?
I think it's just one of them things. Obviously, like it is a big difference. Like obviously, styles of football, yeah, like the mentality of like different players. Like it is a completely different environment. But I think it's one of the things you quickly adapt. Like when you're in them sort of environments, because you kind of have to. But yeah, it's a difference. But I don't really find it like I just kind of focus on myself, sort of thing. So it was always about me and what's best for me, sort of thing, and like not letting other people's like mentality affect it. But like going into all them environments, like they've all been really good change rooms, so it's always been quite easy for me with like good people around me. So
no, excellent. Yeah, so how do you feel you've done since you've stepped up? Because obviously you've gone from playing step 4 the latter stages of last season to step 3 at the early stages of this season, now into step 1 in the National League. How have you found the difference in changes, and do you think you've adapted well? And most importantly, do you think you're got a place back at Colchester in the team? Do you think you can break in?
I'd say for me, like it's always on like a process based sort of thing. Like I'm not one to really look like too far ahead. Obviously, it sounds quite cliche, but it's always been for me just focusing on where I'm at that moment. So like when I was at Malden, like my full focus is just on at Malden, just playing well there, and then obviously I'm to make the jump up to Billericay this season. And I think it just like I found I was ready for that jump up. Like obviously I'd been training a lot with the first team at Colchester, like with the coaches that would worked on my stuff I needed to develop on. And I felt like I was ready for that. So I think when I stepped into Billericay, it was kind of a seamless jump sort of thing for me. And I think I adapted quite well, kind of hit the ground running there, sort of done quite well in my month there. And then obviously the interest came out from Yeovil. And like it all happened really quick, just like in terms of how football works. And then all of a sudden, then I was at Yeovil, and it was just an opportunity I wanted to take straight away. And obviously, because I knew how big of an opportunity it sort of was. And yeah, I think like obviously there's a difference between the levels, but like I'm a confident person. Like, I back my ability to be able to step up. And I think I did show that in the Carlisle game. I think just like to go straight into that, I think I've done quite well in that. And obviously there was bits I wanted to do better the other night, but yeah, I feel confident in my ability at this level as well. Like, and I think there's a bit like attributes of my game that would suit this level as well, and obviously playing with players as well that are helping my game. Yeah, as you say about like breaking into Colchester first team. Like to be fair, like I haven't obviously I back myself to do it, but at the moment I'm just focusing on Yeovil and just playing well every week for Yeovil. That's more on my mind, sort of thing.
Absolutely. Is this in terms of obviously relocating with Malden and Tiptree and Billericay? I imagine you kind of stayed within the same area and probably stayed at home. Have you fully committed to relocating to Yeovil? Because if not, that's a hell of a commute you're doing every day.
No, I'm not doing that. Yeah, I've fully committed to it. So yeah, obviously when I was at Malden and Billericay, I was still living at home in Essex. But yeah, now I'm living up here. We train in Bristol, so I'm living in Bristol at the minute actually, which I think has been a good experience for me, just to like get outside my comfort zone a little bit, living away from home, and yeah, just like seeing different sides of it. But yeah, I'm enjoying it.
And the last one from me before I let Louis take the reins is just in general on the Cowley brothers. Obviously, they previously at Braintree, they got us to our highest ever finish in the National League, which I believe was 3rd. How are they like on the training ground? What's the feeling around Colchester? From an outside, it looks like everyone's getting very united and they're brilliant coaches. Have you had much interaction with them when you were there, and do they interact with you when you're out as well on loan, kind of thing?
They're very good with interaction and stuff like that. Like they're two of the most dedicated people you'll see. Like they work tirelessly. Like that's just how they are. They expect like commitment from everyone else because that's what they show. They're very dedicated people. Both very good managers. And yeah, I think like what they've created there is a really close knit group, just by how they are on the training pitch. And yeah, I think that's breeded through the team who are obviously putting some results together now. And yeah, I think they'll do really well this year. Like I think just from how the managers are, how the players are, created a really good group. And yeah, like they've been really good with me as well. Like keeping in contact, always saying to me stuff I can work on, and always working with me on the training pitch, finding time to do it. So yeah, I haven't really got anything bad to say about them. All positive.
Good stuff, Louis.
Yeah, just sort of adding on what Craig said already. What are your sort of like biggest learnings from and the things you've taken from Billericay and sort of semi-professional part-time football into your time at Yeovil now? And what are the biggest differences like on the pitch, do you think, between those two levels? Like, is it the speed of the game? Is it the fitness levels? What kind of things have you sort of picked up on?
I think just the main thing that I've took for me is to win my physical battles, to win my individual battles, because I think that's relevant at all levels of the game, to win my individual battles, and then to just give to run all day, work, give my 100%, because I think that's something that goes across well at all levels, because that's my game, to do them sort of things. And then just to keep adding little details which will help me. And I think, as you say, going back to the differences, I think just obviously there's better quality as you go up the levels, like into the National League now, compared to the others. Like there's just more quality, I suppose. Yeah, there's better athletes and just like better details on passes and just more quality and stuff like that. And yeah, as you say, like with the physicality wise, probably a bit more physical, and probably on the ball probably on the floor a little bit more as well. But yeah, I've really enjoyed the step up though.
Yeah, and another question I had was, are there any players in the Yeovil team at the moment that you sort of go to for the advice? Quite a few senior players in there at the moment. Are there any that you look up to, or have sort of put their arm around your shoulder and sort of put you in their stead, kind of thing?
I think just the whole sort of group really. Like I think just everyone. Really, I think everyone's been really good with me. So like just forming partnerships. So like from the back, like the defenders are always talking to me. Like in midfield, my midfield partner is always speaking to me as well. So I think just all of them really, like the management staff have been really good with me. I think just everyone, just obviously then I'm a young lad coming into the group, and I think just everyone's welcomed me really well, and just sort of like, made me feel really at home already. So yeah, all of them really, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, just before we move on to the deep dive and everything, Max, I just wanted to mention, obviously, what's your expectations for the rest of the season? Obviously, you said you kind of go, not too far in the future, game to game type thing, just do your own job. Are you just wanting to, cement your place in the team?
Yeah, as you say, obviously, once again, like it sounds really cliche, but yeah, literally for me, it's always the next game. Like it's always just doing it game by game. So like now for me, the only really thing I'm thinking about now is Scunthorpe Saturday and just going there, playing well. And I think everything else kind of takes care of itself after that. So yeah, for me now, full focus just on Saturday really, and going in there and getting a result.
Yeah, go on, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, just obviously you said about cementing the team. Yeah, obviously I want to be playing all the time, but I think just by good performances will do that. So starting on Saturday, I think just that's where my focus is at really.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. Obviously, the performances will come, I think, and Scunthorpe's a tough place to go. We'll obviously do our predictions a bit later on, but we're going to head into our deep dive now. But Max, I'm going to come straight back to you. This was Yeovil 0, Wealdstone 2. How did you see this game, mate?
Yeah, it was obviously a tough one to take. Obviously, like games like that, I think they hurt you for a few days after. So like yesterday, I'm still hurting from it. And now today, like obviously it still hurts, but now like, it's good to have got another game Saturday to move on from it. But yeah, on this game, I think it was one where we've all said as a team was probably too passive in the game, and I think they're a good ball playing team. I think they kept the ball quite well, and we probably just couldn't make as many regains as we wanted to. And then like in the first half, there weren't a lot in it. I don't think there was much that happened. Obviously, still 0-0. And I think from about the 45th to the 60th minute, I think that's probably where we had our best spell, where we started pressing high. And I think we forced a few errors. And then they get the goal for a good bit of play. They play out well from our press. And they go through and take the goal. And I think after that, then they had the momentum. And to be fair, they reacted really well to it. And we probably didn't react well enough to them scoring. And we probably lost our way a little bit. Probably a bit late when we was pressing, a bit disorganised with that. And I think just our quality, I think they probably showed better quality on the ball than us on the day. Especially after the goal, they started making some passes. And I think just when we got it back, I don't think we was at the standard of how good our players are. I don't think we played to our strengths really. And then they get then I think they get the second goal from a cross. It's not the best goal from us to concede, a bit of a sloppy goal. And then I think the game's done sort of then. But I think, overall, I think they probably just on the day, they're probably just a bit more tidier on the ball. And I think they probably run out deserved winners at the end. But I think it was one of them where if we take our chances and another day it goes different. So.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the highlights, and I think, first goal was massive. Again, we talk about cliches. That is a cliche, isn't it? But first goal was massive. Like, if you guys had got the first goal, I think the result's totally different. But for me, Wealdstone are obviously one of them sides that have surprised a lot of people this season. So I don't think there's any, shame in being beaten by them. They're 8th in the league at the minute. I think they've lost 1 in the last 7. They're in really good form. So don't be too disheartened by that, Max. I don't think they're a good side. And like I say, if you guys get the first goal, it's a totally different game.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was something we said at half time, was the first goal was going to be crucial here. So it was about trying to get in. I think we started really well on the front foot in the second half. But then obviously we just got to react better to when they score, because obviously they get the goal. We don't take our chances, they do. And then they react better than us after the first goal. And I think sometimes it's as simple as that, really.
Yeah, sometimes we talk about it and overcomplicate football, but sometimes it is just that simple, isn't it? Sometimes it is that
simple things. Yeah,
it is. Louis, how did you see this game, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just have to pay credit to Wealdstone, because, as you said, they're absolutely flying now, and Sam Cox is doing a really good job there. He obviously went in when we had an interim spell at the end of the 23-24 season, and got them out of relegation. He's come back and he's worked it really well. They've got a good blend of young players that are tricky and talented, like Hutchinson, Hassan, we've spoken about, who tore us apart a couple of weeks ago as well. And then you've got the experienced players like Max Kretschmar and Zio Baldwin and Cook in defence as well. So he's built a really good squad as well. I wanted to ask Max about, obviously you had the 10-day gap before the game because of the FA Cup, and obviously Wealdstone played on the Saturday. As a player, do you prefer having a longer gap before the game where you can focus on the game, or do you prefer just playing games and sort of play and recover, rest, play kind of thing?
I'd always want to be playing games. I'm someone who'd always want to be playing just to get in that consistent rhythm. But obviously, then they could say that we had the advantage that we rested and they were playing. So, I mean, it's how you see it. But I suppose in the 10 days, you just want to be playing games. Like, I think that's the good thing now. At least after a disappointing game, I've got a game Saturday to wipe the mind and go again. So I think for me, I think I'd always rather just be playing games. Obviously, it wasn't as bad because we came off the back of a decent result with Carlisle, so it's not as bad. But if you come off the back of a bad result and you've got to wait, you had to wait 10 days after Tuesday, that's when, it can be really hard sometimes. But I'd always rather be playing games.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think if you're in good form, you're quite happy for these games to, come quick. But also, I think that's the good thing about midweek games. You get a bad result and you're going straight again on the weekend, so you haven't got too much time to sit and stew on it and think about it and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as you say there, sometimes if you come off the back of a bad result and you've got loads of time, you're overthinking it, you keep thinking about the game, you just want to go and put it right. Whereas now, with the midweek one, we've got a chance now Saturday to go and put it right, and full belief in us. So
Craig, how did you see this one, mate?
Yeah, nothing really to add. I think you guys have covered it well. I think it's two teams that probably now, if you'd say where they're going to finish in the end of the season, you'd put them probably in that same bracket. Wealdstone probably in a little bit more form. As we said, they're flying under Sam Cox, and maybe that spell at Oxford, which didn't go so well for him, was a massive learning curve, and he's taken so much. I don't think it's probably from the times he spent with Angry Ginge that now he's become such a good manager. But no, they're flying at the moment and doing really well, and that's where we're going Saturday. So hopefully their run stops on Saturday, but the way we're playing it probably will. But Wealdstone flying, and Yeovil, they're bounced back from this. They're too good to be troubled down the bottom end, and they'll be all right. And perhaps that will start at Scunthorpe at the weekend with a big result there and a goal for Max.
Yeah, hopefully. about time I start scoring. So
I mean, we'll see. Watch this space, Max. Next up, we've got York 4, Gateshead 0. We did predict on this podcast last week that there was going to be a team very shortly on the receiving end of a pasting by York. It looked like that to me. Gateshead with that. I said Carlisle had been there and got battered. Tamworth went there and got battered. And obviously it was Gateshead's turn. We said they needed to turn the draws into wins. They've started doing that. Craig, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, I don't think these have ever been the problem games for York. We've talked about them beating a team 4-0, and it's what they do afterwards. So it'll be very interesting what result they get at the weekend, and then next midweek against Rochdale as well, as you said, getting that run together. I think we all saw this one coming. York at home, not in the greatest of form as such. They still don't lose many, but like you said, they're drawing probably too many. That this result was due. Gateshead on the back of the FA Cup highs probably found it that little bit harder to go again after such a good performance at Wimbledon. And when that's the case, you need to just kind of make sure you don't concede too early. And when they've conceded after 11 minutes, then they're chasing the game. Good to see Josh Stones scoring again. Obviously scored at the weekend, scored today. He's getting into some form now. And then Joe Felix, probably one of the best players in this league, an unbelievable player, adding the second. And then it was comfortable from then. 3-0 at half-time. Pearce added some gloss in extra injury time, but I believe he still managed to miss a penalty later on as well. So 4-0 could have been easily 5-6 or even more than that in this game. But yeah, for me, it's not about this result for York. It's what they do in the two afterwards, because they'll get 3 or 4-0 5 or 6 times this season. But previously, they've dropped points afterwards. That's what they do afterwards for me.
Yeah, I mean, you say that obviously as well. Gateshead, I've just looked at it. It's their first defeat in 6, so I don't think they'll be overly concerned. Like I say, there'll be better teams than them. Arguably there has been already. But went there and got battered, so I don't think they'll be too disheartened. Like Max mentioned earlier, they put it right at the weekend and put it to the back of the mind. Max, what did you make of this result, mate?
to be fair, I haven't seen much of it, but just yeah, from what I've heard, I think York are a very good side. Obviously they're near the top, but now I've seen clips of them and they look a very good outfit. So yeah, so I'm not too surprised about them getting a good result the other night. So
yeah, Louis, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, I think it's been touched on well already. I think it's the second game in a row now that Maynard started Stones and Pearce, and I think if he can get those two sort of working well, because it's always been a big problem for York. I think if you play both of them, one of them loses their form or momentum, and they don't really work well together. But if he can get good performances out of both of them when they're playing together, it could be scary for the rest of the league. And I think it was crucial that they actually took the lead in this game. For the last 2 games, I think it was against Halifax and Boreham Wood in the league, they conceded early on first, and then the sort of the momentum of the game. Obviously, they can have the chances, but they are chasing the game. But it allowed them to sort of dictate and control the game themselves when they went 3-0 up so early. And yeah, we'll see what happens this weekend with York, because I think it's important that they actually back it up on the road at Eastleigh.
Yeah, and Eastleigh away will be a tough game for them. Obviously, we'll come to predictions in a little while. Next up, we've got Carlisle 2, Halifax 0. I'm just going to do what Craig did on the first day of the season and just say top of the league. When Braintree were top of the league after game 1, Max, Craig managed to get it in about 5 times that Braintree were top of the league. So we'll see how many times
that feels an absolute lifetime ago as a Braintree fan, by the way. An absolute lifetime ago.
Was that not the episode we had Max Kretschmar on as well? Another Max.
Yeah.
So we'll see how many I can get in tonight. But obviously, I'll cover this one first. I watched this game. So Junior Lawamba finally arrived. He's been a bit stop-start since he came to the club in the summer, but he was absolutely outstanding. There was some pieces of skill in there that I didn't know he had in his locker, I'll be honest. And obviously got the 2 goals. I thought Harvey McAdams slotted into that holding midfield role really well. Kept recycling the ball, won the ball back, done everything you want. Like Max would know from that midfielder, you want them doing them things. There might just be the simple things or the dirty work, as people call it, but he'd done everything absolutely spot on. Chris Con Clark was everywhere. He was picking the ball up in the right back position, left back, right wing, left wing, centre mid, in the box. He was picking it up everywhere and just pinging passes around. It was one of them games where actually Regan Linney, I mean, he got an assist, but it was a quiet night at the office for him. We didn't rely on him too much, which is always good as well. You know, you don't want to just be a one-trick pony. As for Halifax, I was a bit disappointed in them. I'm not going to lie. I expected better. You know, they went on that run of winning, was it 6 games in a row? And then they turned up. I think Gabe Breeze had 2 shots straight at him that he could have dropped his hat on. And just, that was it. There was nothing else from them. And I think the manager did come out afterwards and say they just weren't at the races. But as for Carlisle, you know, that's what now? Won 6, drawn 1 in our last 7 games. We've beaten some big teams in there as well. Scunthorpe, Forest Green. Obviously, that comeback against Reading in the Cup as well. So things are looking good, lads, at the moment. I'm quite happy. Louis, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, as you say, it was quite a comfortable win for Carlisle. I think the biggest thing I've picked up on recently is, despite the fact he is still scoring, the less you're relying on Linney. And I had a look back, and the 9 games prior to the 2 defeats that you had on the bounce against York and Rochdale, he scored 47% of the 19 goals that you had. But if you look at the 11 games since, he's scored 18% of them. So the output that he's had on the team in terms of the goals is reduced. He's obviously still scoring, but you're getting goals from elsewhere. Like you said, Luamba has popped in. You're getting goals from centre back. I think it was it Hayden that scored against Scunthorpe in the win. So yeah, I think it's scary for the rest of the league that you're sharing the goals out, and obviously Con Clark has come in as well. Will probably start scoring soon. And from a Halifax point of view, I think anything you get at Carlisle would probably been a bonus for them. If they're looking to get in the playoffs, they will have bigger games, and they'll just have to beat the teams that are below them and around them, just fighting for those playoff places. And they've got Hartlepool, Sutton, and Solihull in the next 3. So yeah, bigger fish to fry for Halifax, I think.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. Max, what did you make of this result, mate?
I'd say, like, once again, not really surprised. Obviously, having played Carlisle last week, I thought it was a very good outfit. And I think, yeah, especially that front 3, the 2 you say, Linney and Con Clark, I think, yeah, obviously you haven't played against both of them, very good players. And yeah, I think they'd cause a lot of teams problems. So yeah, no surprise winning, to be honest.
Yeah, keep saying good things about Carlisle, Max, and you can come back. You can be back on next time. Craig, how did you see this? Come on, mate.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong here, Dan, but I was quite impressed defensively by Carlisle, because you lost the centre half before a ball was even kicked. And then I believe you said that they had to make a change quite early as well. And that sometimes just screams that you're going to concede goals. So to not have your goalkeeper be really troubled shows a real kind of resilience in the team, and a togetherness and that compactness that you need. They always say that obviously strikers win your games, but defenders tend to win your championship. So getting a shutout after all them kind of rush changes can be massive as well for the confidence of the team. And just kind of highlighting what you guys have said, I think earlier in the season when Regan Linney didn't score or produce a moment of magic for someone else, you tend to draw or lose the games. There's now more people chipping in along the way. And you're going to need that to be challenging at the time. You can't rely on one player. And our resident stat man obviously nailed the stats for us on that one, so I don't need to go through them again.
But yeah, no, and obviously just what Craig said there. So Aaron Hayden pulled up in the warm-up, had to drop out the squad. Jack Ellis came onto the bench. Terrell Thomas came in the side, went down injured after 5 minutes. Jack Ellis then came on and had an absolutely outstanding game at centre-half. That guy can really play pretty much anywhere. He's been playing centre-mid, he's been playing right-back, he's been playing centre-back. But I think it was testament to Morgan Feeney and his captaincy. He just led Jack Ellis along. The pair of them were solid together. So I was a bit concerned with the injuries, but after seeing them play together, I think, you know, I'm confident about them playing together at the weekend probably. Now that means we've got Thomas, Mugabe and Hayden all out injured centre halves. So we are on the bare bones at centre back at the moment. So we'll wait and see what happens in due course. Next up, we've got Solihull 4, Truro 0. I know Callum was very happy with this one. Craig, I'll come back to you, mate. What did you make of this one?
Yeah, I was not majorly surprised by this one, but maybe by the magnitude of the scoreline was probably the only thing. But then there was a very controversial red card after 53 minutes when Donnellan went off to get some treatment, and the 4th official, we believe, waved him back on, but the referee wasn't having any of it and gave him his second yellow. So I think that's a reflection in the scoreline there as well, as much of anything, because it was 2-0 before that. So I think Solihull were comfortable, but I think the gloss was just added in the latter stages. But Solihull hitting a good bit of form under Chris Millington now, and probably steering away from that relegation zone and more towards the mid-table. And probably playoffs, I'd say, are too far of a reach for them. But you've got to beat teams like Truro at home, and they've done it very, very comfortably. Truro, again, it's their home form that's going to be the big factor for them. Tuesday nights away, if you're a betting man, that's probably a banker. They're more likely to lose than they're not. So chalk it down, go again, and win your home games and bounce back at the weekend if you can.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. Max, what did you make of this result, mate?
I didn't actually know that they were sent down to 10 men. I think, as you say, I think that always has a big factor to play in the game. So, as I said, I could probably say why the scoreline seems so heavy. I think it's always an uphill task playing against 11 men when you've got 10. So it's probably, as you say, reflecting the scoreline.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, I think like Craig said as well, Truro away from home, we all kind of know that it's probably going to be a long trip for them pretty much everywhere they go, especially midweek. And then obviously Solihull's home form's been good as well. So like similar to Craig for me, I wasn't surprised who won, but I was surprised that it was 4-0 even with 10 men. I didn't expect it to be 4-0.
I think you're their local game, aren't you, Max Yeovil? And I think even then it's
Yeah.
a massive round trip. I believe you've got to go. Have you got to go to them on Boxing Day or them to you?
Boxing Day it is, I believe. Yeah. So yeah, but as you say, I think for Yeovil, I think probably is the closest one. Not for me myself, but yeah.
I've just looked there as well. Solihull have won 3 of the last 4 home games as well. So that's testament to their home form as well. So massive credit to the job they're doing after the poor start they had under Matt Taylor. And
I reckon the resident stat man had that stat in and he's just crossed it off because you've just used it.
I was just thinking there because obviously we talked about them at the start of the season, didn't we? When we had, was it Griff on, Solihull Moors fan, and Matt Taylor was in charge, and they just weren't picking up results, and they've really turned it round. So massive credit to Chris Millington and the team for doing that. Louis, I hope I haven't took your stat off you. Sorry, mate.
I did have that one, but they've got 3 clean sheets in a row at home now as well. So yeah, building on what you've just said. Building on the red card, Askey said it was just no common sense used in the situation. Obviously, the referee, he was card happy, wanted to send them off. At the end of the day, people don't really want a player to be sent off in the game. It kind of ruins the spectacle. I'll get from a player perspective, from Max's point of view, when you're playing against 10 men, obviously as supporters, a lot of people sort of think it's an easier task. But obviously the game completely changes where you're playing against maybe 2 banks of 4. How do you find it as a player playing against 10 men? Is it somewhat easier, or do you think it's much more difficult than what people make it out to be?
I think it depends on the game. I think if they've got something to hold on to, like if they're leading, I think it can make it harder sometimes because then they might just shut up shop, everyone behind the ball, and it's always hard to break down that sort of thing. But I think in the circumstance like you said, where the team's 2-0 up and the other team gets 10 men, I think then you probably help it because then you can just play passes around and they're going to have to press at some point and then you can sort of pick them off if they've got 10 men. So I think in that case it probably has benefited Solihull, obviously.
Yeah, I think with this game, I don't think there was much in it until Solihull opened the score, and I know Truro had a chance cleared off the line. It was a great clearance by James Clark. And yeah, as you say, the goals changed the game, the red card changed the game. But as we've spoken about before, Truro have to sort of rely on their home form and pick up as many points as they can, if that's draws or wins on the road. But home form is where they're going to try and pick up the wins and get safety.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And then last up, Louis, I'm going to come back to you, mate. Sutton 2, Eastleigh 1. First win since the end of August. We won't talk about who you beat on that day. We'll just talk about this game. Obviously, you said earlier, didn't you? You felt like you woke up and you had to guess if it was a dream or not. How are you feeling, mate?
Yeah, chuffed. Absolutely delighted we finally won a game. As you say, it's our first league win in 11 games, but it's only our 4th league win at home in the whole calendar year. So we've had a tough old year watching Sutton. But yeah, first half performance was outstanding. Our best half of the season so far, I think. And the attacking.
Is Louis gone? Oh, he's gone. Are you writing the time down,
I
Craig?
wrote the time down so it can be cropped out. Yeah.
He's moving, but we can't hear.
Louis, can you hear us?
Can you hear us now?
Where did we get to?
He's froze again, I think. If you can hear me, Louis, you literally just got to where you just started talking about the game. Like,
oh, they just don't want me to talk about it today. Yeah, so it was. Yeah, so I think our first half performance was outstanding. It was the best of the season so far. Played some really nice stuff, really good attacking football, quick passing, quick movement, got in behind really well. And the second goal was a great finish by Simper. I think it's 3 goals and 2 assists in his last 4 games now. So he's really hitting some form at the right time. Obviously, it was a nervy finish with Eastleigh getting a penalty. It was a silly penalty for them to give away. But we managed to hold on, which I think is 6 weeks ago we probably would have drawn or lost that game. But yeah, we showed a bit of grit and determination. And yeah, it's a massive win, but it's only 1 win, so we need to back it up now and get another one or get a point on Saturday at Morecambe.
yeah, obviously, like you mentioned there, a huge game coming up at the weekend for you. If you can back that up, I've no doubt you'll get out of trouble, mate. No doubt at all. Max, what did you make of this result?
Obviously, I didn't actually know that was their first win in 11 for Sutton, so obviously it's a big result for them. And yeah, I'm sure they'll be hoping that can be like a platform for them now. But yeah, I think that's obviously a good result for Sutton, probably much needed in that. So yeah.
Yeah, and obviously we mentioned Eastleigh as well. I know obviously new manager, manager change can be difficult and things, but they just seem to be really inconsistent, picking up the odd result and then losing a couple, and it just seems a bit all over the place. I'm sure, the manager will steady the ship and they will start picking up results because the squad's a very good squad to not pick up the form. Craig, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, we were obviously texting last night about it, and as soon as Louis said to us that Eastleigh have got a penalty and they've scored, I was beginning to worry for him. So the fact that Sutton kind of weathered that storm is probably bigger for them than anything else, because every other time since he's come in, they haven't really been able to weather the storm. So the fact they have is probably a really pleasing sign for them. For Eastleigh, Aaron Blair's still out injured. I believe he's got a hamstring injury, and that seems to be impacting him because he was probably their shining light under Kelvin Davis. So for him not to get too much time under the new manager will probably be a massive disappointment. And they're becoming that real inconsistent team, as you said. They're becoming probably the hardest team to predict in our predictions, because they're going to put a performance in and then they're going to lose the week afterwards. So probably below what our predictions are expecting of playoffs, and they're just going to be that team that sits 12th and wins one, lose one every other week. So probably a bit of value for money, though.
Yeah, that's the first time we've got value for money in this week. There's always a team value for money. But I agree with what Craig said there actually about Sutton's defence there, holding out, because there's been a lot of games recently where it's been 2-2, 3-3, games like that. So the fact that you held on and got that win's absolutely massive, Louis. So massive well done to Sutton. Next up, we've got Craig's 5 in 5 minutes. Craig's going to cover his own team and obviously the other results as well. Good luck, mate.
I was planning to do 4 in 4 and just not mention my own team, to be honest with you. But we start on Tuesday night with Boreham Wood against Aldershot. Probably the least surprising thing in this is that Abdul Malik was on fire again. He picked up the ball in his own half and drove and scored a fantastic finish. And he's probably one of the top 5 players in the league at the moment. And as soon as that goal went in, you saw it everywhere on social media, ready for him to be touted for League 2 moves. For Boreham Wood, they'll be praying they keep on to him, because everything good is coming from him and Zach Brunt and Matt Rush at the moment. And they're just ticking along very, very nicely in the upper reaches of the table. Next up, we've got Hartlepool 1, Morecambe 1. 2 goals from Campbell and then Musgrave from the penalty spot cancelled each other out. And for Morecambe, I think after they conceded after 3 minutes, everyone was thinking, here we go again. They got caught playing out from the back and this is going to be another massacre. Hartlepool didn't quite jump onto that as much as probably their fans hoped. And then Morecambe did weather the storm and then won the penalty early in the second half. And eventually it fizzled out into a 1-1 draw, which I think for both teams with the way they've been playing. They'd probably just take not losing, and especially for Morecambe away from home, they probably thought it was a good point until Sutton got all three the next day. Moving on to Wednesday's fixtures, the tale of the penalties in the Altrincham game. Altrincham scored theirs, Boston didn't, and they've won 1-0 through Osborne's penalty. For Altrincham again, very similar to Sutton. I think it was 1 in 10. Louis will correct me if I'm wrong later. That was their first victory in the last 10, and it's been a while coming for them. So a good result for them. And again, the next game, unfortunately for me, was another one where a team has stopped the rot. Brackley haven't won away all season. Just come down to Braintree Town and we'll give you one. And it was a gift of a goal as well. It was a really soft penalty, a poor decision in the box by, I believe it was Marley Marshall Miranda. He's fouled the player, and then Burns slips up and rolls a very nonchalant penalty past the goalkeeper. Big chance for Akinde early in the second half where he runs through. He's got the whole half to himself, and we hoped after him getting his first goal at the weekend that this would be a chance he could take, but it was a pretty poor effort. But credit to Max in the goal, and Brackley, after a winless run, a cup win on Saturday and a league win Wednesday's not the worst week for them. Woking 1, Southend 1 is the final one. If you'd have gave Woking the point before the game, they'd have probably took it, but probably both teams ended up feeling disappointed at the end of this one. Southend have been on a great run, 3 wins in October, 3 clean sheets, and they'd have been looking to build on that, but a cup defeat and then a poor performance at Woking, and now they're probably feeling a little bit disappointed. Luckily for them, they salvaged a goal in the last minute through Bridge, and that was probably enough to get. Well, it was enough to get them a point, but probably a little bit undeserved. Dan, you watched a lot of this game, and you said that Woking were the better side throughout, and probably deserved the 3 points, and that's why they have a massive tinge of disappointment after being the dominant side in a game you probably weren't expected to win. So then conceding the 94th is a sucker punch. And of course, there was no game at Rochdale. Their game was called off against Scunthorpe due to the weather and the pitch conditions there. And I feel like that might not be the first time. Well, it isn't the first time we've said it this season already. And I don't think it will be the last.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with everything you said there, mate. Obviously, like you said, I watched the Woking Southend game. I was a bit disappointed in Southend. I'm very wary of what I'm saying because we go there Saturday, so I'm not going to say too much. But Woking were comfortable for a long period. Bridge did come on, ex-Carlisle player, got the equaliser, and I would say it was probably an undeserved point, but Southend will take it. Every day of the week they'll take that last minute equaliser. So yeah, well done, Craig, for your 5 in 5 minutes. Next up, we're on to predictions. Obviously, what's the scores in the predictions for this week, Craig?
Yes, I will just get them up, but I know Louis won the week. I do also believe I owe Louis an apology because on the predictions I put him to have Brackley to win 2-1, but he actually put 1-0 and that was the score, so he did get a perfect result on that one.
Criminal that you think I'd think there'd be more than one goal at Braintree's game.
It's the first goal I've seen there in weeks, mate. Even when it went against us. So Louis is now top on 252. The guests are on 248. Myself 231, Dan 220, and Mark 192. And that is a result of this week where Louis got 15, myself 10, Dan 6, Mark 6, and Luke the guest 4. So he only got 2 results out of the 11 correct with no perfect. So he's not setting the highest bar for Max to try and beat this week, especially with 14 games to predict.
Yeah, so it was an interesting week, but there was some results in there that I did kick myself last night looking and thinking, why did I get Truro? Why did I have Truro down to get a point at Solihull Moors?
Yeah, why did you back Braintree to win? Those kind of
things. I had the faith in you boys, mate. I had the faith in you boys, but it was badly placed faith. But anyways, we'll get into the predictions. So first up, we've got Aldershot against Forest Green. Craig, what have you got for this one?
Away win, 3-1.
I've got 3-1 as well, Craig. Sorry. Max?
2-0 Forest Green.
Yeah. Just before Louis does his as well, we'll get Max off him over the next couple of days. It'll go out on the social medias, so keep your eyes peeled for Mark's predictions as well. He's always got a couple of rogue ones in there for us, so keep an eye. Louis?
I take it a good thing that I'm siding with professional football here. I'm going 2-0 Forest Green.
Yeah,
all right.
you're always on a good side of it if you're not picking the same result as me, mate. So, but next up we've got Boston Rochdale. I'll go first. I've got 2-1 Rochdale. Rochdale obviously haven't played, so they could be a little bit rusty, but I think they'll just have enough. But again, Boston, they're very much like a Forrest Gump team where it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get from them, like we mentioned with Eastleigh. But 2-1 Rochdale for me. Louis?
Yeah, I've gone 2-0 Rochdale on this one. I think they'll just have too much Boston.
Max?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-0 Rochdale as well.
Craig?
Yes, I believe it's probably a 14-day break for them now, isn't it? With no game, so I do think there will be a bit of rustiness. So I think Boston will score first, but I hate to say it, Dan, I'm going with you again. 2-1 Rochdale.
Oh man, here we go.
Me and Dan are perfectly in sync, and Max and Louis are perfectly in sync.
Yeah. I swear we haven't discussed this before we went on either. Like, this is totally off the cuff. Next up, we've got Brackley, Boreham Wood. Max?
I'm gonna go 1-0 Boreham Wood.
Craig?
1-1.
Louis?
I've gone with Craig. I'm going 1-1.
I've gone 2-1 Boreham Wood. There we go. We've changed it up now. We've changed things up. Next up, we've got Eastleigh against York. Craig?
2-2.
Yeah, Desmond for me as well. Sorry, Craig. Louis?
I've gone 3-1 York. I think they're going to start motoring now and get a few wins under their belt.
And Max?
I'm gonna go 2-1 York.
Good stuff. Next up, we've got Halifax, Hartlepool. Max, I'll come back to you.
I'm gonna go 1-0.
Yeah, I can see that. Louis?
I watched the Morecambe Hartlepool game and both sides were pretty poor. So I'm going to back Halifax here 2-0.
Craig?
Yeah, I usually get a little bit of views from the Halifax fans because I'd usually predict them to lose. So today I'm going to predict them to win, and I'm going to go 2-1.
Yeah, I don't think either side covered themselves in glory in midweek, but I do think Halifax are the better side, so I've got 2-0 Halifax as well. Next up, we've got Gateshead against Solihull Moors. I'll go first for this one. This is one of them games that I just don't know. I honestly don't. So what do I normally do when I don't know? 1-1.
Sit on the fence.
Yeah, that fence is very strong holding me up. Max?
I'm gonna go 0-0 in this one. Poor draw.
Yeah, to be honest, I toyed with 0-0. I wasn't sure. Louis?
I've gone with you, Dan. It's basically a poor home record against a poor away record. So you just got to sit on the fence in that scenario.
Craig?
I don't like sitting on the fence. I go with the home team. In doubt, I always go with the home team. I'm going to go 2-1 Gateshead.
Ooh, even with Gateshead's home form. Ooh, that's bold. Next, we've got Morecambe against Sutton. Louis, I'm coming to you, mate. What are you expecting?
I've gone for us to win 2-1. It's brave, but yeah, I'm backing our momentum, and I think we'll get a win away from home for the first time this season.
Max?
1-0 Sutton.
I like you, Max.
Craig?
He doesn't like me. 3-2 Morecambe.
Oh, well, you're gonna like me, Louis. I've got 2-1 Sutton. But also remember how wrong I am, so we'll see.
Well, I don't think I've predicted us to win all season, so.
Well, you've been right most of the season, mate.
Yeah, that's why he's top of the league. Next up, we've got Scunthorpe Yeovil. Max, I'll come to you first, mate, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I'm obviously gonna have to. I'm gonna back my own team there. Back the boys. I'm gonna go 1-0 to us.
I like it. Craig?
I'm going to go for a draw on this one. I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1.
Louis?
I'm backing Scunthorpe on this. They just had that extra bit of break that Yeovil haven't had, sorry. So yeah, 2-0 Scunthorpe.
Yeah, sorry, Max. I've got 3-1 Scunthorpe. But for your, I hope I'm wrong for you, mate. My predictions are useless. So my predictions are useless. So you probably will win now.
Yeah, feel free to tag them both on social media if you do beat Scunthorpe.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, clip this up as well, and because that's happened before as well. Clip it up. Next up, we've got Tamworth Woking. I'll go first on this one. I've got Tamworth winning 1-0 in this one, just about. Craig.
Yeah, they don't concede many, don't score many. I'm going fully with you on this one. 1-0 Tamworth.
Max.
I'll go 1-0 Woking.
Louis.
1-0 Tamworth.
Ooh, nearly a full house. Next up, we've got Truro against Altrincham. Battle down the bottom. Who wants to go first? I'll decide. We'll go Louis. Louis went last time, so we'll go first with Louis.
I think long journey for Altrincham is going to take an effect, and obviously we talk about home form from Truro. I'm going to back Truro 3-1.
Yeah, I've got 2-1 Truro. Craig.
Yep, same as you, Dan. 2-1 Truro.
Max.
I'm gonna go 1-0.
Good stuff. Next up, we've got Wealdstone against Braintree. Craig.
3-0.
Braintree.
Absolutely not.
It's definitely got to be 3-0 Braintree.
We're so low on confidence, mate. There needs to be something goes on there. I don't want to call for the manager's head, but I'm very pessimistic, shall we say?
Yeah, I've got 2-0 Wealdstone. For what it's worth, Louis.
Yeah, I've got 2-0 Wealdstone as well.
Max.
I'm gonna go 0-0 on that one.
0-0. There you go. 0-0. Could be. You've gone for a couple
more
of
faith in my team than I have. So
couple of rogue 0-0s in there. That's normally what Mac does, Max. So you filled in well there, mate. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Southend Carlisle. This is the late kickoff. On paper, should be a cracking game. Craig.
I don't think it's going to be a cracking game. They never are when they're on telly, it seems. I'm going to go 1-1.
Max.
Yeah, I'm gonna copy him there and say 1-0 as well.
I've gone slightly higher, but I've gone 2-2. Long travel for us, and a draw away to Southend wouldn't be a total disaster. I'm not going to lie, so I'll take it. Louis.
Yeah, we can all tune into this one on TikTok, aren't we? Given that DAZN are now streaming it on the platform on Saturday evening. I've gone for
the game's gone. The game's gone.
Yeah.
The game's gone. It's on TikTok. But yeah, 2-2, mate. Yeah. So we've all gone for a draw there.
2-2.
What's that, sorry, Craig?
What was your score? Sorry.
Desmond 2-2.
2-2.
So we've all gone for a draw there. That's interesting. Next up is obviously the midweek games next week, rearranged. We've got Forest Green, Tamworth. I'll go first. I've got 3-1 Forest Green. Just think Forest Green, I'll have too much for them. Max?
Yeah, 1-0 Forest Green.
Louis?
I've gone 1-1. I think Tamworth are the kind of team that might just battle out and get a point at Forest Green.
Yeah. Craig?
4-0 Forest Green. I just see it similar to the York one. When they've played Saturday, they've give everything to the home game, the bigger game, and then they go to one of the bigger boys in a rearranged game, and it's just too much for them, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was kind of my thought process as well. We seem to be quite in sync this week, Craig. Last one. I don't like it either, but it's not good for Craig's predictions if he's on the same wavelength as me. Next up, and obviously last up, we've got York Rochdale. Max?
1-0. I'm going to draw on that.
Yeah, I've got Desmond. I've got 2-2 in this one. Craig?
1-0 York.
Louis?
Yeah, this is the one I think people will tune into out of the two, isn't it? And I've gone 3-2 York.
Yeah, I think it could be a cracking game, like really good game of football. But yeah, obviously that's predictions done, deep dive. Thanks to Craig and Louis for being with me as always. Mark will be back very soon. We're missing you, mate. Good to have you back next week. Max, thank you so much for joining us and talking about your career. All the best for the season with Yeovil. We hope your loan goes well and everything at Colchester goes well. Thanks again for joining us. And don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. You know, like I said, we're trying to get to like 750 subscribers on YouTube by Christmas, by the end of the year. If you can help us with that, and obviously we can get more exciting guests like Max as well on. But yeah, see you all soon. Take care.